Hi, my name's Cory, and welcome to my semi-regular YouTube channel, which is going to be about financial independence, real estate investing, in particular with mobile home parks, and just generally whatever I feel like talking about. So hopefully someone out there finds this interesting or helpful. If you do, and you are out there at some point, I'd appreciate a like or a comment. So I'm going to go into a little background about me on this one. I was a structural engineer for a number of years, since started that in 2005, and was kind of a not financial screw up, but I just didn't make any financial progress for the first about 10 years of my career. About till 2015, I started in 2005. I kind of just someone would bring up retirement and everything, and I just kind of blow that off like, oh, you think about that when you turn 65. I'm going to go rock climbing, right? And so I really didn't save very much, which if I could go back, I would definitely change. But I did not save very much until I was about 34. All of a sudden, I had a kind of a freak out, which I'll dive into more detail in another video. But I at that point I had a young kid, and I was working just an exorbitant a number of 60, 70, 80 hour weeks, and it just felt like I was missing seeing my kid grow up. He was 2 years old at the time, and I had a bit of a freak out that was like, whoa, I can't live like this till I'm 65. Um, and so that drove me down a whole bunch of different rabbit holes, um, um, wanting to learn to invest, and just to try to figure out a way that I could take some control back of my life. And so yeah, so that then I ended up I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, like so many other people, got inspired by that book, which basically says, hey, you can get these things called assets, and they'll pay you, and then if you have enough of them, you don't need to work anymore. It was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. Why didn't it's so simple? Why didn't I think of that? So I was like, I've got to get some of these assets. I need these things. So I started diving in. I said maybe real estate would be good. So I started doing some Googling. I stumbled across a website called Bigger Pockets, which has a wealth of info. And then through that, I actually there was an interview on the Bigger Pockets podcast where someone mentioned somebody called Mr. Money Mustache, which then led me down the rabbit hole of this whole financial independence movement, which is a related thing, but not necessarily specific to real estate, but where if you um, can control your expenses, if you have enough basically investments, real estate, stocks, anything, to where the passive income from those can cover your expenses, then you're what they call financially independent. You get to the point where you can do whatever you want with your time, and if you love your job, you can keep doing it. But the reason to keep doing it isn't because you need the money at that point. And so that sounded like really cool. So I've been then I was been trying to kind of mix these two things together, the real estate investing and the financial independence. And so I wanted to get a real estate a property, and so I started analyzing a bunch of them. And back in 2016, and even back then, I thought they were expensive. Now everything's probably more than doubled since then. But even back then, looking at houses, duplexes, threeplexes, fourplexes, I'm sure I could have found good deals, but I would have had to really work for them. All the ones that I saw that were listed were just not even close to, the rent wasn't even going to cover the mortgage, let alone all the expenses. And then I stumbled across a listing for a mobile home park, and I had at the time I had made a pro forma spreadsheet. How do you analyze properties? I heard of something called the pro forma, so I googled the word pro forma, found out what all the terms are, googled the terms, figured out how you calculate them. Okay, here's your net operating. I'll go into all this stuff in another one. It's basically income and expenses, and calculating different types of returns, cash on cash return, IRR. So I made this spreadsheet that I was punching all these properties into to analyze them, and I punched the mobile home park spreadsheet in there, and I was like, whoa, that looks much better. I need to look at this. And I knew I had one friend who I knew, our realtor, who actually helped us buy our house back in 2011, who became a really good friend. And he's the only person I knew with rental properties. So I called him up and I said, Matt, I got to go. Let's go grab a beer. We need to have a beer. I have a crazy idea and I need you to talk me out of it. And I can remember telling him, hey man, I'm looking at these mobile home park things. What do I've done some research on them. I think they might be legitimate. Like what am I missing here? I got to be missing something. This is crazy, right? And he's like, no, man. I know a bunch of people who invest in those. I think they're cash cows. And so then the rest is history. We dove in and we purchased some with our own. We purchased a few. We purchased the first one. We took a HELOC out on our house because our house had appreciated significantly. Like I said, I wasn't a good saver at that point, and purchased the first one. Simultaneously, we chopped our expenses a lot. We really got intentional about that. We cut our food budget back. We got rid of a bunch of subscriptions. We still drive really old cars. Thankfully, we never really got into new cars. Those are so anyway. We managed to get our expenses way down. And so then the mobile home park did great income from that, plus our reduced spending. We ended up having a pretty good savings rate, which we actually got up to 50% a few years, which is pretty good, saving half your money. And then we used that to pay down the HELOC, and then eventually purchased another and another, and then the values were going up, and we sold and refinanced and purchased some others, um, and then this last year and a half, I've actually partnered with my brother-in-law, and we've taken on some friends and family investors to buy some more. So, and I'm at the point now where I'm currently scaled back. I'm currently much happier at my work. I'm scaled back to part-time, 3 days a week. It's great people that work there. I also um, put a bunch of effort in over the same period of time and trying to improve myself at my job. I kind of realized one of the reasons I was working so much was because I felt like I wasn't doing a good job, and I felt like I was a pretty shitty job actually. So I put a bunch of effort into. I was throwing a bunch of hours at it. The problem that with my job wasn't the lack of hours though. So I really focused on trying to do better at that, and so that's also helps. I'm actually really enjoying my work as a structural engineer still, more than ever right now, I would say. And I'm back to I'm scaled down to 3 days a week, so I get plenty of time with my family and plenty of time to do this mobile home park stuff. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, kind of then to now. Currently, we've got should have probably added this up before the video, but in the ballpark of 100 and probably in the ballpark of 150, 170 lots. I'd have to add them up. I should have done that before the video. Anyway, if you combine all of the different parks right now. And I have had some of them are bought and sold. I don't have them all anymore, but I have purchased a total of 10 mobile home parks to date. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy the channel, and I'm going to throw maybe some good mobile home park stories up there next. Cheers.